ZTE on 2016 here in Berlin at the IFA. My name is Janine Mehner and it's an honor for me to guide you through this exciting program today. And in the name of ZTE, we are all saying thank you that you are joining our show. I can promise you that you will experience right here, right now, the new excellence of smartphone technology. And today, you and me, we all will witness the next chapter of ZTE's success story in a European but also on a global level. And who could better lead us to the next chapter of smartphone technology than Mr. Adam Sang in person. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a huge applause, the CEO of ZTE Mobile Devices, Adam Sang.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here again at IFA. And you know, I still remember last year, we showcased our first generation Axon flagship and won the best user experience award here at IFA 2015. And today, I'm excited to share with you about the progress we have made so far. First, I want to talk about Axon, the Axon 7. Our latest flagship launched a few months ago. We have achieved more than 97% positive user rating in China. The initial inventory has been sold out in the US and Europe. So we are working hard to fulfill many orders. We also received so many positive feedbacks, not only from the consumers, but also from technology media outlets. And many of you are sitting here today. Thank you for your support. Secondly, I want to talk briefly about our overall performance and share some news with you. Based on Counterpoint research report, for the second quarter of 2016, we have become the number 6 biggest player in this industry. In the US, we have been consistently held the number 4 position, and number 3 for Android, and number 2 for prepaid. In Europe, we have recently risen to the number 4 position. I'm so proud of these results. Of course, we still have a long way to go to become top 3 vendors in major countries. I want to sincerely thank you for all for joining us today. I think we couldn't do anything without your support. So let us continue together on the journey of ZTE, or what we call zero to excellence. This phrase, zero to excellence, is very appropriate in summarizing our achievement as a company, and also will continue to be our brand vision into the future. Zero to excellence. Today, we will continue the momentum of Axon 7 and add more exciting products to you. Let's invite my colleague, Raymond, come to the stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wayman Lang. I'm the Vice President for ZTE Mobile Devices. I'm very happy and honored to stand in front of you today to give you more stories about the ZTE's successful story, what we call zero to excellence. But let's talk about the Axon 7, because as Adam has mentioned, the story will continue, has to continue. So let's talk about the Axon 7. We have launched Axon 7 back in May 26 in China, and subsequently have different launches throughout in Paris and then in Hong Kong, and then we have launches, pre-orders starting in the US. So far the reception has been phenomenal. And we are also very honored to have Lang Lang, the world-renowned pianist, to become our Axon series brand ambassador. So as most of you know, Lang Lang is a very, very talented piano player. For him to endorse this product, that tells you a lot about the audio and music capability of this device. So, since many of you are here today, I want to quote some of the reviews that you have written for the Axon 7. From Android Authority, even at $8 earbuds can notice the difference. Digital Trend, this device costs nearly twice as much. It feels like it costs nearly twice as much, but it's not. And then for PC Magazine, it's a device that no other phone on this market can offer. And then lastly, Engadget. So you can actually hear this device from another room. So it tells you we have done an excellent job, probably the most powerful smartphone on the planet when it comes to audio and sound quality. And for that, I thank you for giving such a great review for our Axon 7. But more importantly, what about the consumer? What have they been saying about the Axon 7? So here are some of the quotes that I got randomly from some of the users' reviews from online that I've gathered. So Douglas said, it feels like you get a lot more than what you pay for. Justin mentioned, this is a great media consuming device with the Dolby Atmos and the dual built-in speakers. And last but not least, Brent, he mentioned, I have never had a device this good in terms of the sound quality, both in itself and with the headphone. So I think we have done a lot of things right with the Axon device when it comes to audio. And I'm proud to stand right here to talk about our next chapter in Axon 7. But before we do that, obviously, we as ZTE believe that there's no one size fits all for smartphones. And in particular, if you look at the millennials, if you look at this interesting data, very interesting data that we have gathered in some recent surveys, look at the left, my right hand, two sides, 18 to 29, 30 to 49, they spent almost half of them are saying that they couldn't live without their smartphone. Another interesting data. So also targeting the millennial. The millennial are spending the most time with smartphones, more than anything else. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing, but smartphone has changed the way we live. And the data is showing that the millennial especially are using smartphone more than the time they're spending with friends and family. And this is also very interesting data. So the features that they use that has the greatest year-over-year increase for the past 3 years. If you look at some of these features, from watching TV, using that as a portable TV device, watching some online videos, video phone call, listening to music, everything has to do with sound. So I think the industry is telling us that we have developed a very, very cool device, a right device to take advantage and address the market needs. So with that, I want to introduce the Axon 7 Mini. So if you look at this device, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous looking device. We have inherited the DNA of the Axon 7 and just making it a little bit smaller, 5.2 inch to be exact. If you look at the configurations or the detailed layouts, you can see it's very similar, and we did that deliberately because we want to be able to offer our flagship device this design language across different models. So Axon 7 Mini has the DNA of the design language from the Axon 7, and on top of that, it's got a beautiful 5.2-inch Full HD AMOLED display, and it's got the latest technologies like USB-C connections. But more importantly, we have also included the most important feature of the Axon 7, which is the audio that we talk so much about. So it's smaller in size, but it still has a great sonic DNA. And how do we do that? We call this Pure Sound 1.0. So this concept has actually been put together by ZTE and many different professional companies, and even with Golden Ears Conservatory Music got involved. So it's a combination of hardware selections for the device, where there's hi-fi chipsets, speakers, amplifiers, audio material that we selected for the speaker grill, and then inside the box of the speaker has a lot to do with the hardware selection. But not only hardware, also software selection. So software optimizations through hi-fi software, amplification software, and Dolby, which I will talk more about later. And then professional tuning. It's not just throwing hardware and software together. It has to be able to tune to the right frequency, whether it's low frequency, middle frequency, or high frequency. So we actually combine all of that in perfection in delivering the Axon 7 and now the Axon 7 Mini. So first of all, it's got a powerful dual front-facing speakers, and it's actually symmetrical as well. So if you look at this device, it's a beautiful device. It's got grills on the top, grills on the bottom, two speakers that's facing you. So it's very important with these two speakers positioned in this way, because when you're watching or consuming video, the sound wave is coming directly at you, versus if you put it somewhere else, you will have a different experience. Let's talk about hi-fi chipset. So we have a dedicated hi-fi chipset, and we work with a company called AKM to put the latest hi-fi chipset, 4962, into this product. So it's got a heavier bass, deeper treble, and a pure median compared to the predecessor, which is 4961. And it's offering the ability to support 384 kilohertz, 32 bits, ultra high definition music for the consumers. And also has smart PA. What is smart PA? So smart PA is basically another chipset that we have inside the phone to regulate the audio output coming out of the device. So in other words, let's say the consumer wants to turn up the volume to the loudest. Smart PA will adjust and optimize the output of the audio to make sure that the sound doesn't sound distorted. So another very useful and important technology in delivering quality audio. And I talk a lot about the amount of time we spend on material selection, audio experimentation, golden ears calibrations, and the tuning that we have done countless hours. You know, whether it's ZTE audio engineering team, Dolby, or AKM, all together in a package. We call it Pure Sound 1.0. And of course, Dolby. So Dolby is the leader in digital sound, and it's moving from traditional home entertainment system into the mobile space. And we are extremely honored to have Dolby Atmos to allow the consumer to have a 3D sound experience in the palm of their hand. And I'm also very honored today to have a guest that I'm going to invite up in just a moment. He's going to talk to you briefly about this great technology. So with that, I want to invite Stefan to come on the stage to give you a talk about the Dolby Atmos. Stefan?
Yes, thanks, Raymond. This is a great piece of technology you showed, and it sounds great, and actually sounds greater because it's using Dolby Atmos. So, also Dolby would like to welcome you at the ZTE's press conference at IFA. I'm very honored to be here and present you Dolby Atmos, and even more important, to present you also what Dolby Atmos does to the Axon 7 and what are the user experience that comes out of Axon. So let me give you a quick overview about Dolby Atmos. So what is Dolby Atmos? Or sometimes people refer to it as a 3D immersive audio system. Dolby Atmos is a sound system or a technology we developed, after 5171. We decided we do not want to put more speakers in the surround area, we want to put some speakers up. And that's why everything is object-based. So at the moment, with Dolby Atmos, you take different audio elements and you can put it and move it around, not only in the same level, also in the height level. So for example, a bird in a forest that is now flying around your head, and not only flying around you. So what does this technology actually bring to the Axon 7 users? So it gives you a never heard before audio experience, and Naaman already mentioned it. You have two speakers, you have earphones, you have earplugs. Normally you do not get this immersive feeling. With Dolby Atmos you get this. So the audio puts you into the scene. So you hear the sound around you and you feel like you're part of it. Imagine when you stand in a forest, there's a lot of sound around it. And if the sound just comes from the front, it doesn't help you. But if the sound comes from all around you, you really feel like you're part of the action. Not only Atmos content, also existing 5.1 stereo content is getting enhanced by using Dolby Atmos. So what does that mean? We all experience in a plane, sometimes you do not really understand the dialogues. So it's always difficult to listen to dialogues. So with Dolby Atmos, you also enhance existing movies, existing content to make it a better experience, so that you can concentrate much more on the movie or the content itself, and you don't have to focus on what's actually being said. So having said this, and you get this experience whatever peripherals you're using. So it doesn't matter if you want to use the built-in speaker set or if you want to use the earplugs. The ZTE's R&D team and our R&D team and all the other partners like AKM, they really did a great job in terms of putting this together, and they make it great. So make sure you check it out. They have Axon 7 minis around. Make sure you check it out to get this experience, and you hear it. You don't need any additional equipment. It's all in the Axon 7. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stefan, for such a good information about the Dolby Atmos. So obviously, we're very honored to be among the first companies to partner with Dolby to incorporate Dolby Atmos into the device. We think the Axon 7 Mini, kick butt in terms of the audio quality. But from your perspective, knowing that there are other phones out there, what do you think the Axon 7 Mini performance in terms of the audio quality?
I mean, the audio quality, what I've heard, is really outstanding. It's breathtaking. I really felt like I'm sitting in a cinema. This is where Dolby actually comes from the cinema. So all the experiences you have heard so far, most of them are happening in the cinema. And with the Axon 7, it's such a powerful tool. You're sitting in front of a mobile device and you have the feeling you're sitting in a cinema where you have 56 or even more speakers around you. And this is all coming out of the Axon 7, which is really a tremendous thing. And I think, I said before, make sure you check it out because it's an experience you have never had before.
Well, with that, thank you very much, Stefan. Thanks again. So we just heard from Dolby talking about Dolby Atmos. Now, I also have another speaker that I'm going to introduce. He's a very talented freelance music editor and journalist, Paul Lester. And he's going to give you his point of view based on his profession about the Axon 7 Mini. With that, Paul.
Hello. Good turnout. Right, I'm Paul Lester, and I've been a music journalist for over 20 years, working for magazines like Melody Maker, Ask Your Parents, and I'm Cut. And then about 10 years ago, I went freelance. Since then I've been writing for Guardian, Mojo, Sunday Times, Classic Rock. I've also written books on Oasis and Blur and Lady Gaga. So what I'm trying to say is, a lot of my work involves listening to music and interviewing pop stars and rock stars, old and new, from the Rolling Stones to The Weeknd. When I first started out as a music writer, I needed a tape recorder, and did all my interviews on a tape recorder, and listened to music on vinyl and CDs, and you still are listening to vinyl, beyond me completely. But with the advance of technology, my work life has changed immeasurably. I do virtually everything on a mobile phone. I play music back on it, I stream it obviously, I record interviews and transcribe the interviews, I download music, I research articles, I even make notes and write articles, increasingly so in this online world where publications demand stuff turned around not just overnight, but can we have it in the next 2 hours? So a mobile phone is essential. Really though, it needs to be good at playing back music, because I do it for several hours a day. And I spend more time listening to music on the move than I ever do on any hi-fi system. Mainly then, as I say, I do it on a mobile phone, often via headphones and car speakers. So as somebody who loves the latest technology, I was delighted to be invited to try out the new Axon 7 Mini. It was incredible, because it never occurred to me before to listen to music coming out of the actual phone. It sounds ridiculous, sounds bizarre, but it's true. For the first time ever, here was a device where the sound was rich enough and powerful enough, and it wasn't necessary to take recourse to my Sennheisers or my Marshalls, apart from when my wife demanded that I turn it down because she was watching the latest soap opera. Of course, there's also the other thing to bear in mind for a music journalist, is the dread of overexposure to loud music and the causing of tinnitus, which is an occupational hazard. That is no longer a problem with the Axon, because you don't have to put on headphones, as I say. For me and so millions of other people though, in so many industries, a mobile phone is a work essential. I'll give you an example of how it's improved my work life over the last few days. I interviewed a band, I don't know if any of you remember, I'm looking around the room, you all look too young, a band from the 1980s called the Human League. I went out to Sheffield to interview them last week, and I did the interview with the Axon, and it was incredible. I played the interview back, it was amazingly clear, the sound. I didn't have to have the headphones on to do the transcription, and we're talking about a band from the north of England, specifically South Yorkshire, and if you've ever heard the South Yorkshire dialect, it was that clear, and it was that, it cut through completely. I didn't have to do any straining, and of course, with the excellent battery life, I was there for hours and hours. I didn't have to recharge it or bring an extra charger with me at all, which helped. Anyway, in conclusion, in a world in which streaming music has become more popular than digital downloads or any good old-fashioned physical product, it makes sense, I think, for greater priority to be given to the sound quality and the functionalism of a mobile phone. If you're going to be spending several hours a day streaming music from Spotify or another streaming site, you don't want music reduced to a weedy, tinny blare, which is often the case. You want a sound that at least vaguely approximates the quality of a home stereo. With the Axon, ZTE have come up with a phone that allows for some of that home stereo effect while keeping you mobile. Thank you.
Very well said, Paul. So I'm glad to hear that the Axon 7 Mini has helped you in terms of your profession, recording excellent quality audio. But I think, from all the data that we've seen, even the ordinary consumer, they will be able to appreciate what Axon 7 Mini brings to the table. So from your perspective, what do you think some of the things they can take advantage of?
Well, the most amazing thing is that it never occurred to me before, but the idea of playing through music through a phone without recourse to any other external gadget, it seemed ridiculous, but yeah, it works. I mean, I had music on in my kitchen, I took it into the garden, I took it around the house, and good sound. It never would have occurred to me before. So I think that's a revolution in itself. I mean, I do like my headphones and I do like my speakers, but the idea that you don't have to, I've come here from England, I don't really want to, for one night, bring a heavy external speaker with me. The idea that I can go on a trip, a work trip, and just have the phone is quite good, quite appealing.
Well, thank you for your feedback. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So we just heard from Dolby and from Stefan from Dolby and Paul from UK. We also have put together, well, we didn't put it together. We actually gave the phone to another very talented freelance filmmaker out of UK in the name of Philip Bloom. He has about 123,000 followers on Twitter, and I invite you to check it out. But I want to show you what he created with One Day with Axon. I want to go to that video. Smartphone these days, isn't it even more amazing that you can capture such quality video and sound with a smartphone? The video has a very, very important feature of the smartphone, but it is the sound that brings out the emotion. And for that, we're very honored and very humbled that we have this device from ZTE called the ZTE Axon 7 and Axon 7 Mini. Now, let's compare about some specs. Right? After all, it's about comparison. So what I have here is Axon 7, Samsung S7, HTC 10, and Huawei P9. From the built-in speaker comparison perspective, you could very clearly tell that Axon 7 Mini is above all of them. Samsung S7 only has a single speaker in the lower right-hand corner. The HTC 10 has dual speakers, but their bottom speaker is actually located over here. It's not front-facing. And then Huawei also, same with Samsung, also only have one single speakers. So the idea is that I want to compare in the marketplace 5.2 inches device around that size. What type of capability when it comes to the speaker quality? Let's compare hi-fi. So I mentioned a lot about hi-fi sound quality coming out of the earbuds. So let's compare again. ZTE Axon 7 Mini has a dedicated hi-fi chipset built into the device. So if you look at these other three very, very well-known devices, Samsung S7, HTC 10, Huawei P9, none of them has a dedicated hi-fi chipset. And only one of them supports high-res audio. So we believe the Axon 7 and the Axon 7 Mini has truly, truly redefined the flagship audio experience, not only for us, but for the consumers. But smartphone is not just about audio, even though we put a lot of emphasis on the audio. Camera is also very important. So the philosophy behind the Axon 7 Mini and the Axon 7 is to allow consumers to have a very simple interface so they can take great pictures the moment they want to take it. Camera that takes great photo, simplistic point and shoot. I think that's the idea. This is based on extensive research that we have done at ZTE. Out of 100 users, almost 85 of them said they will never use advanced feature in the camera. They just want to be able to take a good picture the moment they want to take it. So with that, we have put in some sophisticated hardware with this Axon 7 Mini. 16 megapixel in the rear, 1.9 aperture. And the front camera is an 8 megapixel with an f2.2 aperture. But it is the software that's allowing the Axon 7 Mini to be able to detect many different types of scenarios. So you, as the consumer, can just point and shoot and take extraordinary pictures. So whether it's day or night, automatic HDR, automatic scenery selections, the software does all the work for you. But of course, if you want to tweak the settings, we also have very, very user-friendly settings that you can tweak, where you can separate the meter and the focus. You can adjust the exposure level, and you can adjust the focus and all of that. So let's look at some of the pictures. So this picture was taken in Las Vegas. So obviously, looking at this picture, it is being shot in some manual type of settings. So with manual exposure, manual focus time, and you can see the quality. I cannot believe this is coming out of a smartphone. Looking at this picture. When the second picture, this one is taken in Germany, in Düsseldorf, Germany. So it's almost dusk, like the sunset time. The light is not enough. But with the Axon 7 Mini, we're able to allow the consumer just point and shoot because it has the automatic HDR function. So you don't have to go with the setting and say, I want to do an HDR. The phone actually knows that it needs an HDR because of the lighting condition. So look at the quality of this picture. You just point and shoot. Now this last picture also taken with auto mode. This is in Paris, in France, Cathedral de Notre Dame. So look at the clarity, the color reproduction. This is in auto mode without HDR. Look at the details of the cloud and then the background, and more importantly, the signs. So I think these three pictures can tell a lot. Our story for this camera is simplistic point and shoot. We want you to be able to take the picture, gorgeous, gorgeous pictures, the moment you want to take it. Now let's talk about design. So we collaborated with DesignWorks, which is a company that builds subsidiary of BMW groups. So we have incorporated what they call the G3 curvature, continuous curvature, which is actually inspired by race cars. If you can, Google, G3. There's, G0, G1, G2, G3. That G3 part is at the edge of the phone. So if you look at the design DNA from DesignWorks, together with ZTE, we have created something very, very pretty and very, very sexy, in my opinion. Look at this device with the G3 curve. It's the curvature on both sides of the phone that's allowing you to have a better grip and a firmer hold. And so we are very honored to be able to work with DesignWorks in coming up with such a unique design. And also, it's got a full unibody aluminum body for this smartphone. So we took a lot of the advice from the users. Our first generation, it was also a full metal body, but the top and bottom portion of it was not metal. So we improved that drastically by offering a full metal smartphone unibody. And attention to detail. We also want to be able to give user a sense of luxury. If you look at this device, it's got a fingerprint recess in the back that haptically tells you, the placement of the finger because of the ridge on two sides of the fingerprint. Precision chamfer edges. It looks gorgeous and beautiful, wrapped around with 2.5D glass. And the grill actually, I can tell a long story on the grill. How many holes we actually put into the grill to achieve that sound quality and the look. So attention to detail is extremely important. Well, let's do another comparison. So Axon 7 Mini, Samsung S7, HTC 10, Huawei P9. So if you look at from this point of view, you can see our curve is very, very unique. It's because of that G3 curvature. And the thickest point of this device is only 7.8 millimeter. It's at the middle. So, but more importantly, the two sides, because of the curvature, is actually extremely thin. It's giving you a best ergonomic and feel. And it's very elegant and very simplistic, minimalist design. There's no screws on the side of the phone. It's just a microphone and a connection, a USB-C connection port. So we think our design is very unique and very, very elegant. So there you have it. This is the Axon 7 Mini. We think, it truly redefines the audio quality. That's why we call it redefining flagship audio experience. Audio is important, but obviously camera and the design language of the phone is also key. We have made a very nice video about this device. I'd like to go to that video. this is it, Axon 7 Mini, and we're so excited to be able to offer this device in the European market and across different parts of the world. So the question that you have in your mind is probably how much? So since I made the comparison with these three phones, I want to do a price comparison. So the Samsung S7 is selling for 700 euros. HTC 10 also, when they launched, 700 euros. Huawei P9, 599, with similar configuration, all at 32 gigabytes and 3 to 4 gigabytes of RAM. How much do you think our Axon Mini will cost? $499. $399. $299. Free. Okay, no. I'm happy to tell you guys, you're not going to pay anywhere near what these three guys, $700, $600. But remember, this phone gives you the best audio experience of all these devices, and it's only cost $299. We know consumers are anxious to get this device, and we're making this available in-store and online starting on September 7th. And we're going to start off with Germany, Spain, Russia, Poland, Japan, Australia, India, Saudi Arabia, and then USA. And then roll out to more countries in the future. So with that, ZTE's tagline is imagination and beyond. So we invite consumers to imagine with us, to create devices beyond their imaginations. I think that's a very, very good example of what I just showed you with the Axon 7 Mini. And right here, right now, we want to offer our flagship device across different price points, right? After all, there's consumers that can afford certain type of phone, but we want to be able to offer consumers different types of price point, but with the same most important feature from the Axon 7 series, which is the sound quality and the design language of the phone. So zero to excellence is what Adam has mentioned. I think this is an excellent story that can perfectly summarize why we call ZTE zero to excellence. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. Wow, isn't that a fantastic outlook? Very impressive. And of course, you will have the chance to have a first look on our new ZTE devices after this press conference outside the hall in the lobby.